Come away to a deserted place and rest for a while. Welcome. This is the Healing for Her podcast. I'm your host, Nicola P. Hawkins, a faith filled woman, wife, mother, home educator, and a therapist. My hope is to encourage women, especially mothers, who experience distress and overwhelm in life, by reminding her that what's hard is only part of her story and that she can shift from despair. Rather, awakening, healing to flourish well by compassionately connecting with her heart to experience order, vitality, and fullness in her right now season of life. I mean, who doesn't want to walk in their God given worth more healthfully? I invite you to linger a little longer with me and see what moves within. All right, welcome back. I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to meander a little bit around the subject of silence, solitude, a little bit of striving, and perhaps, what was the other thing? I think I was thinking through spiritual warfare, um, and I don't even know how to um, define that or describe it in this way of, because it can mean so many different things to so many different people. Um, but when I'm thinking of it, maybe I'll use the word disruptors, things that just feel like it's gnawing within your soul space, within your mind, maybe some fiery thoughts, rumination, and such. And how do we quiet that? What does that look like? How do you pause and hear your whole own heart? Can you connect with your own heart, with your own sense of self within? And I know I talk about connecting with the self because I find that it can be easy to neglect and let go of um, gathering of the self, if you will. I quoted that verse comes out of Mark. After the disciples had gone out, they came back and they were excited. Like, you wouldn't believe it. You know, we did this and we did that and we preached and so on and so forth. And I think Jesus expresses concern for them. Like, yeah, y'all are having a wild time doing all the things, and that's awesome. But what's going to sustain you, right? I think he looks back at that part of you being the one that is going out. Now you've gone out. Now you've done that. As women, as mothers, I can't tell you how many things I did this morning before I got to the present time that I am as a mom, and you know, as a woman, as manager of things, right? Um, you know, and how does that um, impact the going, the doing? Um, After that's done, do you look back and say, "Oh, that was good," or do you just kind of blaze through looking to what's next and what's next and what's next? Do you crash? But you just crash in bed on a pillow, whatever, until you finally stop for your day? Or are you able to pause in between? I think a collective of conversations that I've had in the past couple weeks. One on solitude and silence, and like a young mom, and I was trying to reflect with her, like, what does that look like in your season right now, having like four under, I think they were like seven and approximately 2 years apart. And she's like, I just go about when I'm in my kitchen and I'm just like, okay, Jesus, be with me. And she's talking about not having any time to self. Well, there's nap times and all that, but in the going, when the moments are feeling um, depleted, you're feeling depleted in the action, in the giving, and how do you catch your breath? And that's what she was describing, solitude, and because it's not silence, you know. But that's how she grasped back to that place of a reset, a place of grounding, and drawing strength. And I thought that's amazing. And you know, um, you know, of course, it naturally makes me think back on like how was I doing that? When I had a majority of littles, and of course, my kids are in different stages and place of development, and what does it look like now versus then. But I was really curious about this factor for her, and I thought, man, that's it, because you could easily throw off something like this, and say, well, I can't do this. I can't connect with my heart. I can't. I just have to keep going. But having some windows of intentionality to do that, and we're going through a book together, and so also I saw her notes. I know there's this additional time set aside to even just to take notes, right? Man, I just think part of a other conversation looks like, how do I slow slow down and make the time to slow down. I picked up uh the what do you call it, some spiritual practices, and you can do it in the daytime and in the evening. It's daily office, and I'm looking forward to diving into some of that, this journey and in this journal. Um, and so I'm just like, okay, this is such a good conversation in that this season feels a bit chaotic. If you have kids in school and transitioning from one thing to the next, you can see how easily it will be to keep going, keep burning. The candle proverbially so, that burning the candle at both ends. But yeah, being able to pause for even a minute. This morning, I found myself doing that. And I think that's what it was. I paused and I had something on YouTube, and it just speaking scriptures over and over. And I'm like, okay, you know, can I be still here? Can I just pause? Can I take in and let these words wash over me while I'm, hanging up things and whatever else I was doing in those moments? Can I allow that to happen? Can I still respond to my kid when they come in for something, and kind of allow that portion of my morning to be, if you will, meditative? And it made me think also on the sense of, years ago, I would do like a Bible study or something like that, devotions in the morning. And by the time you get, 10 a.m. or something, you feel the emotions, and you feel stretched, and you're repeating yourself with the same sentence yet again, and thinking about that bunching and that tightness and that tense, uh, you know, and then you're like, oh, it felt so good during the devotion time. And what's happening at this moment, and you feel like it's a two different sense of self. Um, uh, I was recently talking to another friend about integration, albeit we're talking about it in terms of what does it look like to help um, clients integrate with their their faith and their backgrounds into the work that you do in therapy session, because a lot of it comes back to like belief, right? And what are we believing about ourselves versus like what do we end up doing or how do we end up behaving? And to go back with that devotion time, that's what I was in a way asking myself, how do I integrate what I sat with at 7 a.m. and bring it to 10 a.m.? How do I live it out in 10 a.m. where it's not just I'm, you know, quoting what I memorized but how does it change and transform, release the tension? How does it help me to find words that's nuanced to be able to not feel like I'm coercing or controlling the behaviors and direction of my kids or the things that I needed to do um, or forcing and changing, coercing my own self? How do I allow it to impact me to the point where I can say I'm beloved, I'm being cared for in this moment, I'm being nurtured, God sees me, I'm growing in my faithfulness in this thing versus this other things that we might find ruminating or firing off inside of our hearts and minds, that it's like on a good clear day we wouldn't say these are the things we believe about ourselves, but when things get tight, when things get bunched and overwhelming, what are the words that we find ourselves saying, or the things that the conflictual thing? This is where I talk about maybe, how do we use spiritual warfare here? But it's something going against something else, something that I hope for, something that I believe, something that on a about well balanced morning, it doesn't feel like a fight. These other times where it feels like something is more prickly and um, envy, frustration, feeling abandoned, feeling alone, feeling, you know, overwhelmed by the moment, or feeling like I don't know how to uh, accomplish this task or something like that. When those things begin to conflict each other, like how do I even bring a balm of rest in, a breath in, hope, and by even saying this is hard right now and I'm not sure about how to navigate it, but also I don't have to fight and force. What else, can I do to advance or rest or pause for the moment? So, like I said, I was just meandering with my thoughts, and I just wanted to, I don't know, bring that conversation. What does this look like for you to practice solitude and silent in your own heart? And, do you find yourself longing for God, or wondering that God longs for you to come and have an encounter with him where it's not, we're not manipulating or orchestrating, you know, um, ways that we think it should have to be like this? Is it when, like you were pouring milk for the child, but you're able to have a little bit of a meditative way of being? You're needing to do some form of notes or something, or you're sweeping and you allow a song to meander through your own heart, and to be able to sing and be in that place of stirring even gratitude and hope in that inner place, instead of I have to set aside these specific moments, and then you find yourself in utter drought and desperation, which that's fine too. And then maybe carve out out the time. But yeah, I guess my curiosity and my conversations were centered around how do we integrate this in the moment, and when we go out and we do, as these disciples did, how do we come back and curate space for our hearts and our souls to be taken care of, where we don't lose sight of cultivating that inner world and allowing that place in us to continue to be transformed towards love and hope and this sense of, being able to hold space for our hearts, for what's within, to create order and vitality, as I've said before. I hope you're blessed on this day and take care of yourself. And hopefully you can find some solitude or begin a conversation of what does this get to look like for me in this season. Thank you for listening. I hope this experience has allowed you to connect within and that you feel inspired to flourish well. Until next time, keep healing for her. It is worth it. You can follow us here and reach out by emailing us at healingforher@gmail.com. That is HEALING, the number 4, HER at gmail.com. Thank you.